lane. And so I think Renegade's a smart pick. Just take the Black Feather off the fold, take it away from, not away from Impunity, but take it away from their ban, because you know it's most likely going to be the second ban. He's such a strong hero, so much dive. With health being increased, his on-point Faint of Heart execute damage, scaling off 10% missing health, does loads of damage. Really looking forward to seeing how that Black Feather can be played. And it's very likely Shingi's going to go for an aggressive jungler with this. You don't generally see a Sky Feather anymore, because it's not a playstyle that really works together in this patch. We're much more likely to see something like a Koshka, a Taka, or maybe even a Reza. I can only hope, but the cool ban the Ryan ban does indicate we might be seeing something like an Alpha.
Yep, Alpha will be quite big for RNG since Lyra is no longer on the fold. They can definitely use, the Alpha for the side of RNG, but Ardent coming out as a ban from Impunity, and now it is just down to RNG. And we saw from previous game itself that, the side of RNG, or rather both teams, they are very, they just prioritize on their carries rather than their roam picks. So I'm not surprised if RNG actually will go for the Fortress, since it was banned out in the previous game, and Fortress is so strong, and without Rhyme on the fold, they just cannot quite find the counter anyways. Granted, there is still the Sky, but Fortress just does so well against the Sky. And, the side of RNG, they are just so good running the protect the carry comp. And with the Black Feather, you need that Serpent's Mask and the breaking point, and the rest is just basically history, right? You mentioned it before. You don't need quite a lot of items to put out damage because of the Faint of Hearts. And now if they do run the protect the Black Feather comp alongside that a Fortress, have the extra chase, have the extra bleed, then they don't quite have to be worrying about anything.
I highly doubt they're going to go for Fortress. The main reason Fortress was banned before is because Lyra was picked, and the Mortal Wound of Fortress is really good against Lyra. And Alpha has been picked by Impunity. They listened to me. They wanted to play it, and they are going to play Crystal Alpha in the jungle. Really excited to see how this is going to work out. It's good because if Renegades decide to go for an Assassin last pick, anything like Taka, Koshka, Reza, Alpha does really well against all of them because he's tanky. He's not going to die to your burst. He's going to have an ultimate to sustain through that. Grace is going to even help Vox basically have an Alpha ultimate, going to have basically 2 lives. And they're going to just stick with the Crawl. Shingi, very good on Crawl. It's a really good pick against Alpha, but this does mean it's most likely going to be double weapon. Alpha just needs to get an Atlas, counters both of those heroes really early on. So I think if Impunity build this Alpha correctly, go for Aftershock into Atlas, then build a bit more crystal power, maybe a Clockwork, maybe a Dragon's Eye could work really well, then I think Impunity have got a good draft here.
Yeah, but Impunity, or rather Blue City on that Alpha, really needs to use those ultimates. We saw it yesterday.
That is true. That is a very good point on Alpha.
Yeah, and we saw it yesterday coming up from Impunity, and we just mentioned that Blue City just doesn't seem very comfortable in that Alpha because no ultimates were used until that late game. In the early game, Alpha's ultimate do not quite do a lot of damage, and that is for granted, right? That is for sure, but having that extra damage, and if you can chain it with your prime directives or a core charge, you can definitely get closer to your enemies, and hopefully you just explode in their faces, and they, it's easier for carries to just deal on consistent damage afterwards anyways. But I'm really liking the drop coming out from Impunity as well. They have got a box for a very sustained burst, and they have got Alpha as well. They can go into the backlines, eliminate, that of Black Feather. But we cannot quite forget, in the early game, Black Feather, I personally think Black Feather does very well against a Vox because of on point you get a health barrier that is extra sustained for you. And you probably get a Book of Eulogies. Granted, Book of Eulogies have seen enough. No longer gives you, percentage health regen, but just gives you life still. But I still think that Black Feather does very, very well against this Vox in the early game. If Vox himself pick out, or rather, if Vox picks up 1 defense and 1 swift shooter, then Black Feather will be on top of him.
Yeah, the main problem with what Impunity have going against is that they've let Black Feather through. Black Feather is so strong, will just dive onto Vox and won't even care about what Alpha has to say about it. And reason why I think Impunity's comp is better is because Vox is going to be a breaking point, most likely second, maybe even first item against what Renegades have got. And so if they're focusing Alpha, especially if Cruel is focusing Alpha, Alpha's going to be kind of useless, but it's going to be time built for Vox to build up breaking point stacks. But then again, we just have to see how well they can play against the Black Feather with their Grace ultimates. We are now loading into the Halcyon Fold for the second game between Renegades and Impunity, our first semi-final of today. And it is slightly out of the meta. We're seeing an Alpha being played, especially on A side. You don't tend to see Alpha. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen, but it looks like it's going to be a double defensive rotation.
And we do see, once again, coming out from Blue City, he picks up that, flare for himself, which means it will be very difficult for the side of RNG to actually go in for early game aggression because of the amount of vision provided by Blue City, and on top of that QC as well. Chingy, and not building the weapon blade in the early game, rather going for that Swifty and into the boots, right? You have your extra attack speed, you can probably build up a lot more stacks with that Swifty and the boots for chase. But in the early game, when a lot of fight will be happening around this Elder Treant, I personally feel that it's much, much better to pick up that. Oh, I may have to just hold my thoughts.
Yeah, there's going to be Blue City going in aggressive with that Prime Directive. Has got a Crystal Bit for a little bit of damage. Shingy going to be using that Shadows Empower Me perk to run away. Has got Boot, as you said, so Shingy will most likely be okay. Alpha going in on Spaghetti. Early game damage on Alpha is apparently really high. I've seen this a little bit recently. Alpha can just win fights at level 1. DefQ, though, maybe the first one to fall. No, Alpha gets the first blood onto Core, and Spaghetti trying to do the plays onto DefQ. The baits by DefQ. Will it be a delayed ace by Blue City? Not quite. He's going to try and pick up the backs. This is very risky. Chingy has respawned, and it's stolen away by SNK. Blue City gets absolutely nothing. And he misses the Prime Directive onto the minion. That's not a good thing for Blue City. He gets almost nothing away from Cruel and may not even get this healing camp. The fight might not be over. Shingy is back. So is Spaghetti. And yeah, Blue City is going to secure 0 away from Cruel. And that's really not what you want on Alpha.
Well, that is not what you want, but 2 kills in her pocket, in Alpha's pocket. I'm just gonna call her as in the hero, not the player. So just to point that out, right?
Just so you know. Just so you know.
Just so you know, I know Blue City's a guy, so no flag for that, please. But we know, Alpha getting 2 kills for herself will be very good. It is 300 gold on top of that 200 gold, so that's 500 gold for Alpha. And so she don't quite have to secure any bags for herself from Cruel. It would be better if she had. That would deprive Cruel of any further farm, and Blue City can just get, her items much faster compared to this Cruel. But Chingy just settling for a very, very early defense, and with that Swifty coming out, which means Tension Bow will be delayed on Chingy, whereas looking over to Blue City, we do see the Eclipse Prism and the Chronograph coming out. Not sure what the Prime Directive was for coming out from Alpha, but I guess it's for good uses.
It's going to be an Aftershock, yeah. The Prime Directive for Alpha is to get an Aftershock, and I'm happy with that pun. Spaghetti is rotating down, but there's no shot. Try and help secure this Elder Treant. 3-man versus 3-man trying to secure this. Cruel most likely will be able to because he's allowed to build up over 4 smite stacks. He's going to get it. That is someone by Renegades, and it was Spaghetti in the end with a Faint of Heart or an on point. And both teams, just happy to contest over the Elder Treant and then both back off towards their jungle. Blue City got a really good level 2 fight, but it doesn't feel that strong around level 3, level 4 to go in against Shingy, because I think the reason why is because Alpha is quite hard to kill at level 1 because most people are very even in terms of the fight, and Alpha obviously with that reboot has basically got 2 lives. So if they focus Blue City, most likely Vox is going to get a kill onto one of them first, and even if Blue City does fall in reboot, she will not give up first blood on this Alpha. So smart decision to not go too aggressive anymore. And DefQ just farming up a lane. Looks like Impunity no. Spaghetti has rotated down to the jungle shop, so they're now going for an aggressive lane push. And what's going to happen out of this is going to be a nice stun by SNK onto the Alpha. That's a miss onto any of the members, but does hit a minion, so he's not stuck in place. And Renegade's going to be not doing anything really.
Yep, Chingy actually picking up a heavy steel and a salvo for himself. We might see a breaking point Cruel as breaking point on Cruel as the first item. As what do you think, Mini? Because most of the time we do see that Bone Saw, like you mentioned, if not the Tension Bow, if not the Spell Saw. Blue City is very famed for that Spell Saw on Cruel, but this time on Chingy we are seeing that breaking point coming out.
Yeah, I like the breaking point first on Cruel. It makes a lot of sense, especially against this because you're going to build up breaking point stacks on Alpha, then she uses her ultimate, and so if you can build up weakness stacks and breaking point stacks, she'll do almost no damage, and you'll be basically able to kill Alpha quickly, and as soon as you turn on Vox, he's going to melt, because you've got 15 breaking point stacks maybe. It's a smart build by Shingy. The fights are going to last quite a while, especially once Grace gets an ultimate. That's just going to prolong the fights even further. And Shingy wants to tank up quite a lot, so after he gets that breaking point, he needs to get a lot of defense. Probably double, maybe even a reflex block instead. No, he's going to get double defense. That's smart. Shingy's just got to survive. So does the Black Feather, kind of. But Black Feather works more as an assassin who builds sustain. It's kind of an odd build path that Black Feather has at the moment, but it just works out for him.
Yep, I really like the rotation coming up from Impunity. I know it is nothing, worthy of a shout out, but we do see a very intelligent usage of the ambient gold, right? We do see QC earlier on just going down to shop, and instead of actually, having Alpha go back to shop, instead Alpha actually head up to lane just for the extra ambient from DefQ, and that way they don't quite waste gold away, as we see from a lot of other teams actually just wasting away the extra gold that they can actually get if they do have a perfect rotation. Chingy now spotted out by that flare, and a root lands on both Impunity members.
Double Githian Wall, double Impale, but there's going to be no follow-up because they are under turret, and Shingy, unlike what Bluxty was doing in the last game on, is being way more defensive and not just going, I'm going to dive on ultimate, let's just see what happens, start a team fight. And I reckon that actually Renegades would win a team fight right now, despite the fact Alpha's got a really big power spike, a major power spike at level 6 with an aftershock. Shingy and Spaghetti have got 2 power spikes with ultimate on both of them. Spaghetti can just dive forever with his 2 Rose offensive charges, and Shingy with the From Hell's Heart. I think Renegades have really got the better power spike at the very moment, mainly because Vox just isn't anywhere. He's got his Poison Shiv, hasn't quite got breaking point yet, but they don't want to fight because they're clearly scared of this Alpha, who really is something to be scared of at the moment.
Yep, I mean the Alpha has got an aftershock, and as you mentioned, it is quite a big power spike for Blue City, but then Chingy has got that defense item just to block out against the burst coming out from Aftershock, and on top of that as well has got an infusion in his pocket, but a fight will break out.
Yeah, a little bit of a fight. Wait for it. It's used. Alpha going to be going in. Infusion pot by Shingy. Shingy thinks the fight is going to happen too. Blue City, couple of core charge stacks, looking to get a third. Will be able to do so on Shingy. Now the Prime Director is going to do a lot of damage. There it is, on to the backline, forcing a fan. Senke. Bluxty has got an ultimate available, and he doesn't pop it. Faint apart from Black Feather, stopping the Alpha ultimate, but Bluxty is going to respawn. Not respawn, but going to get through that ultimate and survive. Now Shingy is the last one left alive. He will fall. Prime Director doesn't quite land, but Box with the double. Can Box get the triple? Black Feather has got boots and will survive under the turret, but Bluxty doesn't manage to get the Termination Protocol off. As we were talking about before the game, I don't think that was his fault. Black Feather did 500 execute damage. It's kind of hard to predict that with your ultimate, but Impunity are able to get this turret not quite dead, but down low, and Alpha with the Prime Directive does sneak it, but Black Feather does manage to pick up a kill, and now Impunity trying to get the turret again, but they haven't got any minions. You need minions to take turrets down, and Shingy is going to be there in time, so tier 1 turret does not fall in the end.
Yep, but caught very low, and that Prime Directive actually did quite a considerable amount on that turret, and at the same time Alpha could just head up to lane and remove Spaghetti from the team fight. So Alpha now just sitting very strong, 3-0-1, and the entire team of Impunity, in fact, the carries are all on perfect KD at this point in time. Their turret is looking very healthy as compared to Renegades, and although we say that Renegade and that Black Feather is just so strong in the current meta, but it looks like Impunity may just see a way to actually just counter this with Vox, and thus they are just prioritizing Vox every single game. If they don't have it, they will just ban it out.
It certainly is a priority pick for DefQ. It's going to be the on point, a little bit of poke, and Shingy is in the top bush. Blue expects it. I think DefQ being very low in the... And QC does not spot Shingy with that flare, so Shingy is safe in the top bush, not being spotted out, and Bluxty looking to get a quarter stack. That's the first one. Shingy going to go in though. DefQ sonics him away. Lovely waiting for Higgins. Hands up 2 members now. Spaghetti taking a lot of damage. Alpha got the quarter stacks up. Has been Atlas, but has got the Prime Directive in 1 second. There it is. Is it going to go onto the Black Feather? Is it going to be on full? It misses everyone, and Fox goes down to Black Feather in the end. Now Bluxty is left alive. He's still not got his Dragon's Eye yet, which will be really important for these elongated team fights. But Shingy with that breaking point and Blackfeather with a breaking point. They're both hoping these fights are going to last a very long time. Vox did go down first, and now QC is the target on this Grace. Atlas does land onto Alpha. QC is going to use the block and the fountain on himself. He hasn't got an ultimate charge, but that is going to be diving turret, and in the end, Crawl does fall, trying to get down to turret. Now Spaghetti left below. Prime Directive doesn't quite land, but there's Termination Protocol popped very early from Lucy just to make sure that he does use that ultimate, and Spaghetti forced to back off.
Yep, Spaghetti will head down into the jungle shop and probably just buy that Atlas Pauldron, and we'll be heading up back to lane. Hopefully just hold on to his turret, but it will not quite be happening. And yet another fight will be happening.
Yeah, turret's gone down, and that is a lovely Prime Directive from up the kill on Spaghetti. Alpha with loads of damage didn't quite manage to go to the shop and pick up either a Shatterglass or a Dragon's Eye. I'd expect to see Dragon's Eye on this Alpha, but the tier 1 turret, so he does fall. Tier 2 is the next target. Defq gets impaled, but he doesn't care. Atlas is up in 1 second for SNK. He can use it, but turret falls to Bluxty already. Now SNK's the next target from Hellstar, goes on to Alpha, has not got the ultimate for 12 seconds. They've literally forced the boots away. Full stacks from Cool Smite. Probably would have picked the Prime Directive, wanted to go in, but it's not quite enough. And Vox, 13 breaking point stacks. Here we go. Vox is stacked. Defq is playing so well on this Vox. That's another kill on Alpha this time, and that's another Prime Directive on Spaghetti. Is he going to be able to survive? Love, second ultimate. Will it be enough? Bluxty and the Prime Directive will be enough with the plays. Bluxty's going to use an ultimate to keep himself available, and this tier 3 turret, Impunity, looking so strong.
Yep, they are definitely looking very, very strong, and very nice use of the termination protocol coming out from Blue City. I apologize for saying that you are not comfortable on this Alpha, right? A big public apology, I guess. I mean, today, he just looked so much stronger as compared to yesterday when they were up against J-Trex Inferno. Like, maybe it is what you've mentioned, it's just that he didn't quite find the chance to use it. Maybe he was tapping on it super aggressively, but it just didn't quite happen for him. But today's game, it just looks so different from Blue City. Blue City on this Alpha just looked so different from the Alpha he was playing in yesterday's game. But now, looking over at the gold lead, the side of Impunity, you would think that they had a far extended and a large gold lead taking down the anchor turret of RNG. But till now, they only got a 4K, a 3K plus 4K gold lead.
Yeah, not a massive gold lead, only as you said 4,000, but the map pressure and just the sense that Impunity are so far ahead is really making Renegade be so passive. If they knew they were only 4k gold behind, they'd probably be a bit more aggressive and look to fight, but because it feels like they are about 7k gold behind, they just don't want to go anywhere near. And Bluxty, I said he needs to get Aftershock, Dragon's Eye, Aftershock Atlas, when they're working to either Clockwork or Dragon's Eye. He's got 3 of them. He's got Aftershock, Dragon's Eye, and Atlas, which is such a big counter onto the side of Renegade. They've got a double weapon, double attack speed comp. Alpha just counters all of that with her Atlas. Grace has got an Atlas as well. And so Impunity really looking strong. They're pushing their gold lead towards about 5,000 once they get this gold mine. If they decide to, yep, they're going to start this up. And really, what is Renegade going to do? Are they going to try and steal it and die? Or are they going to try and steal it and maybe survive? But I assume Impunity will not let this happen. Just turn and fight. Yeah, Defq is in a very aggressive positioning. He's going to start the fight up, and he's going to get this. Lance impales in, and that's a lovely stun from Grace with the Holy Nova onto Lance, stopping that engage. Atlas does land onto the Vox, and Blackfeather is surviving quite a while. Love first ultimate from Grace, no echo yet, so he cannot get a second one. Defq trying to kite for as long as possible. Will some of them house up, and Defq is going to get fight as long as possible. Alpha, though, has got 9 Dragon's Eye stacks. I'm pretty sure that's a Prime Directive for a kill for Alpha. Give him the triple. Will he be able to? So yes, the Blue City is apparently not comfortable on Alpha, but he just got a triple kill, Luxurious.
That's why I just made, that apology, that public apology mid-stream, mid-broadcast, because Blue City is just playing so well today. And just looking over at his KDA, he is sitting at 9-0-2, so perfect KDA for Blue City. Blue City definitely using an extra health that, SEMC has bestowed onto this Alpha and placed it into very, very good users right here. Although Defq was first to go down, he is seen as a threat, right? Going into any team fights, the entirety of RNG is like, okay, try our best to take down Defq first, and then afterwards we can, just think whether or not we want to take down Blue City. But
afterwards, we can think. Afterwards, you're going to die to Alpha. That's the problem, isn't it?
That is why. That is why. You see, DevQ has got a breaking point. You don't take down DevQ first, he will have a ton of stacks. If you don't take down Blue City first, he'll have a ton of stack as well with that Dragon's Eye. So it is quite a dilemma for RNG, and I personally think they have got double breaking points. So you would think that in general they can kind of just out-sustain, out-fight, out-duel the side of Impunity, but the amount of burst coming out from both of these heroes, whoa.
There's going to be some damage by Bluxty, and Defq's going to be the one dived on. Shingy and Spaghetti are going right, all in. Let's kill Defq. Double out, that's onto Defq and Bluxty in the end. Lots of damage coming out. Defq's going very low. There's the ultimate from Grace. Does heal him up in time, but Blackfeather is going to be staying alive for now. Alpha picking up some Dragon's Eye stacks. The fight's been going on about 10 seconds. Bluxty's going to be stacked up. He's full health. He's got a double. He is a nightmare on this Alpha. Shingy's got nothing, despite the fact that Paul supposedly counters Alpha. Bluxty is just keeping up on this Alpha. Going to get 3 core charge stacks at the moment, so if Paul does decide to come anywhere near, Alpha's just going to burst him down with that Prime Directive. This will be most likely backed and another Sentry life taken by Impunity. I don't know what the play is for Renegade at the moment. They're diving in on Vox and they're killing him, but then they've got a full health Alpha with 9 Dragon's Eye stacks with an ultimate available, and you just don't know what to do. She's got an Atlas, she's got a Crucible, because what's the point in buying Aegis against double weapon? There isn't one, you might as well pick up a Crucible. And once Bluxty gets this, actually we're going to see a Broken Myth, not Clockwork. So because he's not being killed under reboot, so what's the point in going for more reboot speed? Just go for pure damage. They're going to build an Aegis on you, so get yourself a Broken Myth against that. And yeah, don't question Bluxty's Alpha. He knows what he's doing apparently.
Well, I mean, 2 seconds reboot to mainstream, right? I mean, if I don't even enter reboot, then why do I even need the 2 seconds reboot? That would probably be what is going through Impunity's or Blue City's head right now, right? I mean, all in all, if you are building that Clockwork, which means you are really just prepared to go in and just to use your Termination Protocol when you're at max Dragon Eye stack, hopefully burst every single person, player down on the opposing team. Obviously, with the core charge at your terminal, not terminal. What is that called? The Prime Directives, right? You try to use those first. If you go down, you go down with a bang. But Blue City don't quite see the need for a Clockwork whatsoever. If you don't die, you don't quite need the 2 second reboot. So, honestly, Impunity now, just coming in with the plays, you would usually expect something like, the comp coming out through, rather the plays coming through from Infamous. But now at this point, Impunity just looks so very strong. The Alpha just left unchecked in every single team fight. It is just so problematic, and it's so rare in competition at this level to actually hear Nightmare, right? Ella, it's a Nightmare. It's just so tough to even catch a glimpse of Nightmare, and there you have it on Blue City. You see the Nightmare coming out. Now the Kraken is being stolen.
Kraken's being started up by Renegade. That's the play. Renegade going for why not? Let's try and steal this Kraken. Lovely from the start. And he's going to take a lot of damage. Triple Atlas was a pop. Now Spaghetti going to go in, but definitely going to get that lovely Divine Intervention. Heal, Echo was used. Second Divine Intervention. Will it be enough? Alpha gets the guns of Blackfeather. That's the 12th kill. Will he get 13th? No, Grace gets it. Vox gets the last one. And that is Impunity with an ace. Just out of nothing, they just deal so much burst damage, and they will most likely finish the game here. Bluxty just deciding that, the draft was pretty good for Impunity, but I didn't think it would be this good.
Yeah, but I mean, they are just looking so very comfortable on all the heroes they are at. And had Renegades actually watched yesterday's game, Renegades would probably just be building or just banning out that Fox. I mean, I have written this down, and Impunity, they themselves have played Fox time and time again, and they just pretty much wreck. I don't like to use the word wreck, but Impunity just looking so strong on this Fox, and if ever, right, Impunity now going on to the finals, if they meet up with Brand Esports or Elite 8, I recommend any of these teams to just ban out Fox against Impunity. Granted, they are, after all, at the end